Hello, hello. Happy Monday, May 11th, 2026. Good afternoon. Jason, good afternoon. How you doing? Who do we got over on YouTube? Juicy, Colin, Russell, Gabriel. Hello, hello. Welcome. David, welcome. So I gotta admit, they take a week off and I'm like, what do I push? Which buttons do I push? How do I get this started again? So here we are. Sort of apologies for last week. I guess I don't need to apologize, but who was that in the live stream? Right, yeah. My good friend David was here to visit last week on Monday. So I said, you know what, we're not doing work. We came in, we shipped, looked through parts, looked at desk sets, and then that was it. Then we went around to the perhaps the most obnoxious antique store in the area. And by obnoxious, I mean it is something else. If any of y'all ever come to Appleton area, the Harp Gallery it was awesome. Is the place to go. I mean, it's worth a visit once in a while. You were disappointed desk sets were involved. Do you know what the total is? The total for the week was 15 desk sets. But anyway, yeah. So the Harp Gallery is really a place. Even by antique, yeah, it is. I mean, it's got a working fountain in the middle. It has columns, and you're sure Lisa's ecstatic. I had everything out. I wasn't hiding anything on Monday, that's for sure. There's a bunch of them on the counter. I mean, but with David's help, we actually made sets out of pens that I had and bases that were acquired. So it was, that's okay. Let's verify it's really Brian. What thing does Brian not like having crawl across his workbench? Oh my goodness. Yeah, there better not be a spider. I almost thought there was a spider yesterday in my car, crawling down my leg, which is really not a great thing. But anyway, yeah. So if you get to Appleton, the Harp Gallery, it's I think my words were, you're going to go in and there's going to be like 4 or 5 grand pianos. And like really obnoxious, huge, large furniture. And the first thing we saw when we walked in was 2 grand pianos. Like I kid you not, within like 10 feet of walking in the door, there are 2 grand pianos, and a full. It had to have been 10 feet tall by 15, 20 feet long wooden bar. I think there were mirrors involved. I don't know. It was $39,000, and it had a sold tag on it. So somebody was putting that in their big house. But it's if you like furniture and stuff like that, there's like almost nothing pen related. They do have dip wells, double dip wells, all over the place, but they're so astronomically priced you wouldn't ever even, The giant bar was spectacular. It would have looked great in your home, but it may have taken up the entire house. Yeah, I mean, it would have been, I don't know where it would have gone. Jeez. So anyway, May Sailor anchor drop. Yeah, so that is, speaking of which, I'm still waiting for my shipment to come in from Sailor. I've got a tracking number, but I've had a tracking number. So I got pens coming. Full size Pro Gear. 2022 Pen of the Year Soda Pop. Full size 21 karat extra fine only. And slims, actually some really, really great options on the slims. Extra fine, broad, zoom, and music are coming. When will they get here? Good question. Yeah, I mean, I heard, what was it, on May 2nd, they told us. So, yeah, that Schaefer desk pen lamp at the Harp Gallery is nice. It's not $750 nice. However, half the price maybe would be questionable. Maybe half the price would be, be something I'd be interested in, but no, probably not. Who am I kidding? I wouldn't buy that for $375. Oh. So anyway, yeah. So Monday we hit a couple antique malls, and just either would you and you're crazy, and just kind of chilled out a little bit. Went to go look at some interesting display cases. But then when Tuesday came around, I realized I am like so far behind. I ended up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I actually listed or created listings for over 60 vintage pens on the website. I think about 40 of them are live right now. I've got another 20 that I should be getting images for, I think today. And so I can make another 20 live. So I got that done. I had ink samples to do. I was running low on shellac and talc and silicone and all sorts of things. I just needed to get it done. And I said, you know what, we're just going to take the whole week off. And it looks like I'm doing something weird here. I'm unbuttoning my sweater because it is brutally warm in here now. How's the parking lot issue at home? It is a non-issue now, which is kind of hilarious, because we were prepared for all sorts of warfare. In fact, we even bought, for a very short period of time, we bought a security system. We were going to hang cameras up on the garage. The parking lot looks like it was professionally painted. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's all right. I mean, it does the job, It tells people this is where you park. And it's funny because now everybody parks right where they're supposed to park, and we can't help that the lot should be about another, if it had another 5 feet into the, of space, that would be better. I mean, we're pretty tight, but it's fine. It is what it is. So anyway, what do we got cooking? I suppose I should repair some pens today. I have a couple of client pens I picked up. I have a couple of pens I need to clean today because I'm going to get them photographed tomorrow with hopes that they will be ready for the podcast put on the website on Friday. So we're going to clean those. They are also pens that I acquired in Chicago. Sounds like a win-win. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You put lines up, everybody knows what to do. One was a complex build, like 84 or something. It's not that old. But all right, how do we do this? I don't remember how to do this stuff. There we go. There's bench. All right, so I got 3 pens today. This one's actually very, very interesting, and I'm actually jealous that I did not see this one at the show. I wasn't looking for it, so therefore, kudos to my client who found it. This is actually a Century, and while I usually don't collect plastic pens, Century is kind of like one of the outliers, because they were actually founded. It's a decent piece. They were actually founded in Neenah, which is just south of here. I believe all the barrels are marked Janesville, but or Whitewater. Am I thinking right? Yeah, I'm thinking right. But this one needs a little help. If I had add it to the list of things that I look for, right? But it's a cool piece. It is a really pretty cool piece. Maybe I can persuade him to let it go in favor of something else. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We've got a nice oversized balance. Now the cap is a little bit I won't say destroyed, but it's heavily crystallized. And so I wanted to leave it kind of out of the way because I'm afraid if like anything happens to it, it's going to crumble. But the client wants to have the pen, this part at least, working order. So I'll leave the cap in. He sent the box. Ever have a blind cap get stuck into the barrel of the pen when it was in the ultrasonic? Like a blind cap from another pen, or no? Oh, a blind cap gets stuck into the cap. No, not usually. No, I mean I've actually run into pens that had. I once had the same pen, yeah. No, I did have one pen once though that, and I forget what it was. Dual fold maybe. I was having problems with the cap, and then when I went to go clean it, noticed that there was a Parker 75 piece. Top jewel was stuck in the cap. So I have had that happen. I got a Model W desk pen here for Esterbrook. And I have disassembled. So Kathleen, if you're watching, I've got a desk base here that's needs a little work, and I've been this morning I was pounding this out. This was damaged, but now I've got it nice and flat. So I think that this is probably okay. I'm gonna look at it again, polish it up. But it was pushed in, so I fixed that. This part is not perfect. But as they say, the price will be appropriate. At least it will give you something to hold this in. And actually, it does kind of sit in there pretty nice. So, and then this is the clip. If you've never seen one of these before, this holds this in place. So this is what we're going to work on right now. There you are. I think this will work. This will work out nice for you. I'll have to but there's the bottom end of it. So we can get that cooking for you. And it won't cost you anywhere near what a new one would cost you. And then just for fun, I've got these guys here, all cartridge converters, 3 Sailors, a Schaefer, 2 Parkers, and 2 Pilots. We're just going to kind of clean up and maybe test. And I would like to get these done and ready so that photography day is tomorrow. We can get that taken care of. And if there's time left after that, then I have another whole group of pens, parts, and all sorts of things that we can look at. But I'm not going to try to overdo it on the first day back. President accounted for. All right. That, and I want to make sure I get out of here on time today. Lisa's not feeling well. Dustin, happy Monday. How are you? Welcome. So when Lisa's done, I want to get her home so she can go to bed. She's been just feeling awful all morning. So it was a good Chicago show. Can we get a status update on the evil True Blue Dual is working after the Chicago show? Funny you should mention, it is right here. I've been writing with it so far. It's so good. I guess the true test is 3 flushing and filling and making sure that part works. So that is also on the agenda for today. Is to get that a little bit more testing on that. There may be a little less stress than the last few weeks. Time will tell. Now, based on the crystallization on the cap on this one, I'm terrified to work on this one, but the barrel doesn't show any signs of that same crystallization. Well, it's got some adhesive of some sort on it. Yeah, the pen, the True Blue from Hell, it actually, it does fill. It writes quite nicely. I have filled and expelled it with water several times. I just don't want it to, I mean, the previous problems were puncturing of the sac. But yeah, it was good to see a couple of you folks in Chicago. I guess there's only a couple people in the chat that were in Chicago. It was good to see you. Good show. It's not coming open. Happy with my purchases. Got some business done. Apparently missed out on a Jade Century ring top. Yeah, I got something off of my workbench and into your basement. Yes, I did. The lathe is no longer in my house, in my my presence. But I do have a nice table set aside for my buffing wheel. I just need a hood now. Let's hope that doesn't take 6 years to fix. I honestly didn't think that deal was going to happen. I was like, oh, man. Lisa looked a bit too happy as you were hauling it away. I was really hoping it was going to be one of those, take it to Chicago, put it in your trunk, and then it's out of my mind. But, you still had the option to decline it when you got here. You did due diligence, yes, and as you should have. I'm happy that it met to your mechanical specifications. Because in other words, it was just going on It was going on Facebook Marketplace, and it was going to be, you know. And I hate selling stuff on Marketplace. Most of the people are pretty good, but I've had people try to buy multiple hundreds of dollars of laptops and then give me $50. Oh, well, I thought you said 50. No, no, I didn't. All right. Well, one out of three ain't bad. We'll soak these other two. Although I am a little bit. This shouldn't be a problem, but such a weird nib on this pen. It looks original. But it only says 14K. But it fits the feed real nice. I mean, it looks like it's been there. Move my light here. There we go. It's probably been there a long time. It's marked on the barrel and 200 and a half. Okay. Well, we're gonna let these two soak. That's what the fireworks Lisa set off over the weekend. The lathe is gone. Well, I've only had it for, I don't remember how long. I think there was an original letter in one of those boxes. Oh my goodness. Well, at least we can do this one. Should we donate to the USPS annual food drive on Saturday? I didn't know it was happening until Saturday. All right, this nib is, as we suspected, I think we already talked about this. This nib is no good, but we're gonna clean it anyway. Kathleen, if you're still there, did you have a nib preference? Extra fine, fine, medium? Well, we're going to have to hook you up with a nib. You did, but they didn't pick it up. You cornered the carrier today, and she said they had 5 employees that called out sick on Saturday, so they didn't collect. Huh. Well, it's crusty, but I think we can salvage that. In other fun news, I spent the weekend trying to get my lawnmower working. I was not successful. Even after doing the usual things like cleaning the air filter and replacing the spark plug. So off to the repair center it went. It cut my fingers, yeah. Actually, it's surprising the wire wheel brush doesn't really, if you can hit your skin and it really doesn't, it doesn't really hurt. Spicy, hello, how are you? Welcome. I'm back 100% operational, back to form. Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel too bad. Was able to get some riding in this weekend. I'm caught up on my riding for the year. I don't like to get behind. Got that taken care of, which is good. Couple naps in. When you were growing up, your parents hired the milkman's son to mow your lawns. He was barefoot mowing the lawn, and on the terrace lawn, he slipped and came close to one of his feet going out of the mower. Yeah, that handbrake thing. That's it. Inevitably, that's what really has done me in because even though yeah, naps are the best, aren't they? Oh man, I took one on Friday and Saturday. Perfect. Yeah, I drained all the gas out, but I didn't run the mower to burn the rest out that was in the carb, and I think it just gummed up at the bottom. It's been sitting for a year and a half since I last used it. I mean, it was really close. Really close to starting. It wanted to go, but all right, that's good. But you know, it's like with the with my snowblower, I siphon all the gas out and then I just crank it on and then you know do other stuff in the garage while it's burning off the last of the gas. You can't do that on a lawnmower. You got to sit there and you either got to mow your lawn with it, which, you know, and what happens if you don't, you don't get your lawn mowed? You got a little bit that's left unmowed. That's no good. Or you got to sit there and hang on to that stupid. I mean, I guess I could take a clamp or something, but well. Maybe it runs on ink instead. Yeah, nap does sound amazing, doesn't it? You know, just like 2 hours is, you know, even an hour and a half is just enough to recharge and you got to run your generator this month. You know, and I had run into that problem before where I had to have my snowblower repaired because I left the gas in over the winter, and so I learned that lesson the hard way. And I said, well, okay, now I'm smart. I got this. I won't do that again, but apparently I didn't do it well enough. Thankfully, my local shop will do pickup and drop-off service. I don't think my snowblower will fit in the back of my VW. Gary, how you doing? Yesterday was your birthday. You bought some inks? You bought a Sailor pen. Great. Very good. Well, I would love to be able to sell some May anchor drop pens, but I got to get them first. I honestly didn't think there was going to be one because I think it was May 2nd or May 3rd when they sent the notice. Is there a difference between 14 karat and 21 karat, Sailor? Well, you know, I took a week off. It was nice and relaxing, and now we're opening up a can of worms right away on day one. You will hear all sorts of people tell you that there's a huge difference between 21 karat and 14 karat nib. As someone who's had his fair share and tested more than his fair share, I'm here to say I disagree with the armchair quarterback's consensus that the 21 karat nibs are better or softer or any of that jazz. The main difference is well, up until I guess the latest announcement, which hasn't really, the new pens really haven't come out yet. Is what pens the 21 karat nib comes on. So 14 karat nibs typically were only on the small size pens. 1911 standard, Pro Gear Slim. And 21 karat is full size, Pro Gear, 1911 large, and King of Pen. And the physical size of the nib is bigger. If a newbie wants a good sailor, what should he or she be looking for, asking for a friend? Well, I think what I'm trying to say is I don't really think there's not really a difference between 14 and 21 karat nib. There's nothing that you're going to notice anyway. Anybody who says otherwise is going to tell you how they've got, 4 sailors or something like that. I have sold thousands. I have tested thousands. Yeah, and the price, of course. 21 karat's always more expensive. I'm just going to tell you that there is nothing to be concerned about. There is no real change in the nibs. There's nothing. Now, on occasion, very rare, very, 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 very rare. On occasion, you will find a full-size 21 karat nib that has a little softness to it. Just happens to be how that particular nib came out of the factory. King of Pen nibs are a different animal altogether. They're shaped different. They do have some inherent softness in them. But generally speaking, the nibs are firm regardless of whether it's 14 or 21 karat nibs. So if you are looking for, how did you word it, Ron? If a newbie wants a good sailor, what should he or she be looking for? Number one, you want the size of the pen that fits your hand best. So in this case, this is a 1911 large. This is a Pro Gear. What is this? This is a Pro Gear Slim. Why does that look weird? It is weird. That's why. This is a standard. That is very strange. Okay. I thought so. Yeah, so this is a standard. And this is a Pro Gear Slim. So the real difference here, and it's easier if I have two pens of the same color, like if I had two black and gold pens. The only difference between 1911 and a Pro Gear is this piece here, is this finial and this barrel finial, right? So on a Pro Gear, they put the flat finials on, and in a 1911, they put the tapered finials on. Everything else, completely interchangeable. So this is equivalent size. Let's put this back to, it hurts me just to look at it this way. This is a 1911 Reala, which is based off the large platform. Slightly different because the barrel is actually a smidge shorter than a 1911 large. But in my hand, that's how that. And so your Pro Gears are going to be slightly a different balance because of this taper or lack thereof, right? Because if I don't post and I put this in here, this one actually comes back a little bit further, okay? Large, it's chunkier. You can see that pretty easily here, I would think. You just see the size of the finial even. So the larges are going to be chunkier if you need a bigger pen. Now, that being said, that's a pretty decent length posted, and they're designed. Yeah, Franken Sailor Pro Gear 1911 standard. What makes it even stranger is these. I actually have two of these 1911 standards, one in burgundy too. Oh, no, this one's 14 karat. This one actually has a 21 karat nib, which is very unusual. It doesn't usually happen. But yeah, it's a 21 karat nib. But yeah, this is sufficient length, I think, for most people posted. And so the 1911, the Reala or the large is a little bit chunkier, a little bit longer. Basically, you buy the one that's going to fit your hand. Now, the larges are more expensive. Buy a 21 karat nib sailor pen and swap the nib. No, it doesn't work that way. So they did make this smaller size nib in a 21 karat. It's not very common, at least in the U.S. market for export. They don't make them that often. The nibs are not interchangeable. The 1911 large nibs are much larger. They won't fit. They won't fit in the 1911 standard. So they made a 1911 standard sized 21 karat nib. So pick the size that you want. Now, if you've got a limited budget, then I would say, you know, you're immediately moving yourself into the Pro Gear Slim, the 1911 standard category, keeping in mind that future Pro Gear Slims like this will have a 21 karat nib instead of 14 karat, which means the price is going to go up. Pick the size, pick a color, pick the nib. They're really pretty much all the same. In your opinion, it's more like a comparison between the Twizy Eco and the VAX 700R. Nib size factors more for you. Yeah, it's very similar. I guess, yeah. That would be a very similar comparison. Sort of. Now, keep in mind, Sailor has started to come out with what they call a 1911 Casual L, being their steel nib version of the 1911. I am supposed to be getting a tester set of those as it makes its way around, so I can test them out. And I want to test them out before I buy them. I am certain the nibs on the 1911 Casual L, the Sailor Compass, and the Sailor Tuzu are all different. They're completely different steel nibs. You're gonna be the outlier and say buy a Sailor Rocket or Deluxe Rocket. They are some of the most beautiful pens Sailor ever made, for sure, for sure. Big fan of the Deluxe Rocket. Was it SC500? Is that the model number? Did I get that right? Something like that. I'm close, I think. KC300. Okay. I got the C right and the last two zeros. So, yeah, and so let's see, the Deluxe Rocket only differs from the Rocket in that it has what, those extra strips on the side of the barrel. Is that right? You want the fancy Sailor grind? Okay, well, it's a whole nother conversation. What do you consider the fancy Sailor grind? Their higher pens seem to have cool grind. Okay, so so this conversation came up on Facebook. Yesterday over the weekend. There are two sets of nibs for Sailor, and a lot of people get them confused. And actually, I've got one here. I think this is this happens to be a music nib. So Sailor makes their standard lineup is extra fine, fine, medium fine, medium. So medium fine in between fine and medium, broad, and then zoom and music. So some people consider the zooms and the music sometimes specialty nibs, but they're not. They're standard nibs. You can get them on almost any any sailor that they make. Now, the only reason you can't get them on some sailors is because there are a lot of sailors that Sailor makes, a lot of pens that Sailor makes that only come in like fine, medium, fine, and medium. So you can't really get a zoom on there because it doesn't come with that to begin with. Now you could swap it in there, but the zoom is pretty is a pretty sweet nib. It allows you different writing line widths based on the angle of the pen. The higher up, the thinner it is. The lower down, the broader it is. You can write upside down. But it's not considered a specialty nib. Special nib, which used to be titled bespoke, is a different thing altogether. And typically comes on a large size pen. And that's not to say that they didn't ever come on smalls, because you can find the smalls. You can find a small size King Eagle. Yeah, Deluxe Rocket KC300. Yeah, okay, that was, I don't know where SC500 came from. Well, I should know that. I have one. Yeah, so your stack nibs, your Cross Music, your Cross Concord. There's a King Eagle and a King Cobra that they don't make anymore. They don't make those two anymore. But those pens are very expensive now. And you really just, I won't say you can't get them. You can get them. But they're not for the faint of heart, for sure. You only know because you Googled it, yeah. Oh, I know David would know it. But Sailor does, like, literally all the Sailor's pens, except for like Urushi, which are primarily well, they make some Maki-E in a large, but Urushi is like primarily is all in King of Pen format. They don't really have a higher end pen. All their bodies are all literally all the same. The Nagahara grind to be your end game. Well, which one? I mean, they're, you know. Naginata Togi is technically a Nagahara grind. And obviously he's not there anymore. Bude, Concord, Cross Music. Emperor Tab. Emperor on a Naginata. There we go. That's what I want. And then if you really want to get technical, there are some very specific, unique. Nagahara did Emperor tabs two different ways. The most common one is the tab goes from the section, goes straight and curls down onto the nib. But he also made them where they come down and then curl up. Well, you're not bad at explaining. I just don't know that you might not know. I mean, Nagahara did a lot of different nibs, so there is not a single Nagahara grind. Nakahara Sr. also made specialty nibs as early as the 70s for those seeking the hard-to-find zoom nibs first and then stack nibs sometime in the late 80s or early 90s. Not cataloged as far as you know. Yeah, they're not. They were very... I won't say inconsistent, but very small batch. Very hard. Very hard. It's very hard to find nowadays any of the original Nakahara Senior nibs. They usually command a quite a nice premium. Where it gets confusing is when Nakahara Jr. started making those nibs. And we don't know, you can kind of say, okay, well, Nakahara, any of the old imprint sailors for sure were done by Nakahara Sr. The real simple nibs with the anchor on them. Where it gets confusing is when they change the design of that nib, and now Nakahara Jr. comes into the picture. Why do sailor nibs have the feedback? I don't know. They just do. That's just how they grind them. Makes them unique. I don't think this is enough, but yeah, if you get yourself a zoom nib, that's like cheap entry into almost custom nib territory. You can find them on some vintage sailors, but like David says, in the 70s. But they're not common at all. But now they're a standard nib, so you love your modern zoom? You can't wait for this drop to stock? Yeah, I know. Actually, let me just, while we're here, let me just punish myself and let's just see if I can check the tracking on it. No update. So it'll pop blue at the last store, your first proper pro gear. It's pretty. I love the material. It's really great. I believe I have the pens are live on the site. There's no stock in them yet. But if there's something anybody's interested in, you can sign up for the notice. I just don't like to put inventory in until I actually have them in my hands. Especially when I know that I'm not going to be able to get any more. I did buy a few more pens than normal. But at $177 for a Pro Gear Slim, you can get a broad zoom or a music or an extra fine. If you like extra fines, but if you want something different, broad's a perfect platform to grind on. It took you 7 years to find one. Yeah, I want to say I had one and I foolishly sold it. They're much harder to find than, say, even a platinum pocket pen with the 3-time music nib. I mean, all right, these two are just gonna have to soak. Okay. All right, so we'll let this, we'll look at this tomorrow. Clean this up. Oops. I have too much crap on my desk now. I had this all nice and cleaned off. You have 21 sailors from a Fude to a couple of 21 karat, but you don't have a King of Pen yet? Well, you want a 1911 King of Pen with the 21 karat nib. They're not going to be anymore, and I got 2 of them. And I won't be upset if I don't sell them, because I'll just keep one for myself. But I've got a black and gold and a black and rhodium. Photo's worth 1,000 words. Well, I mean, I'd go get it. It's literally like, if I didn't have a screen up it's more blocking off my mess than anything else. I could just reach through the shelving unit and pull it off the shelf. "26 sailors. Oh my goodness. And no King of Pen? Oh, talking about my clean desk. Oh, yeah. Oh, David can attest. I mean, if he's still in there, I know he's got it on in the background, but it was mostly clean. It was mostly clean when he was here. You have one of those pocket pens, you jumped on it because it was only listed for $60. I remember getting one at the Ohio show one year, and I think it was $25. Yeah, I think I can probably convince Lisa that I deserve a $25 pen. All right, so that's better. I can flatten that out a little bit more. I don't know what happened to this guy. Half your sailors are Tuzus. The music nib is nice, but you don't need to write with. Yeah, but you know, and it almost seems it's funny because it takes the same cartridge, right? But it often feels like when you write with a pocket pen with a music nib, it's like the capacity is half. Like it should be more, but your wallet is screwed. It's not one grind, but yeah, multiple. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's not just one Nagahara grind. And of course, Nagahara Jr. retired from Sailor, so any of the new ones that come out now aren't done by Nagahara. They're not done by Nagahara. No, they had back in the day. Sailor had grinders that would do the Naginata Togis, and then Nagahara Jr. I'm just going to dump this whole thing in here. Nagahara Jr. would do the Cross and the Concord and the Fude and all that stuff. Oops. All right. Let's see here. Naginata Concord. Yeah, so it's a reverse of a Fude. Fine or extra fine. In a normal position, upside down, it's a broad. I was just to tell people what's your norm. They're looking at the special nibs. They say, well, what's your normal writing size? Do you normally like fine nibs, or do you like broad nibs? Because if you like broad nibs, get the Fude. And occasionally you want to write fine, then you just rotate the nib up. If you write fine most of the time, but occasionally want to write broad, then you get the Concord, and then you flip the pen over, and you got that. Okay. It's writing good. First things first, I'm going to clean this out. That way we'll know if something happens. Well, we'll know if something happens because it will create a huge mess, but it was a clean desk and all those tools were put away. There it is. It's right there. It's right on the screen. Kodachi? I'm not familiar with that. That might be something new. There was never a Kodachi when I sold bespoke or special nibs. I've got far too many tools out. Actually, I'm slowly deciding the ones that need to be here. You collect a lot of pouches. You'd like a King of Pen one day. They're pretty sweet. Oh, it's a grind done by a nib miser who has the permission of Nagahara to offer the grind. Okay. Well, if it's inspired by Naginata Togi, just get the Naginata Togi, unless it's cheaper. I mean, if you want a Naginata Togi, that's the easiest nib to find, keeping in mind that there are 3 different sizes of Naginata Togis. Medium, fine, medium, and broad. And another fun fact, when you're looking at Emperor tab, not emperors, the Sailor Emperor tab, they originally were offered on standard nibs. So you would have an Emperor, but then you could have a Naginata Emperor, which is an Emperor tab on a Naginata Togi. Nowadays, the Emperor tab pretty much comes on a Naginata Togi, so you don't have to worry about it. But the proper name is a Naginata Emperor. But if you're looking at vintage pens, they did make them on standard broad, for example, or medium. And another fun little fact, early Nagahara senior nibs are actually easily identifiable by the fact that they're not labeled with anything other than NAG. Now, obviously, a Fude looks different, and a Concord looks different, and you can tell across music from across. Current special nibs, many of them are marked NAG, but you can tell what they are. But old Naginata Togis were sometimes marked NAG. What size should one look for everyday writing? Depends on what you like. I mean, this is Apica paper. And that's a Sailor broad nib. So you do what you want to do, you know. Extra fine's really, I mean, usually I would ask people, you want extra fine? Are you sure? It's sort of like the Sailor Vanishing Point extra fine. You know, you want that, you really want it that fine. Because that nib is you know. But other words, fine writes like an extra fine, medium fine, a little bit broader, medium writes kind of like a fine, and broad writes like a medium or less, You don't like extra fine. Okay, so if you don't like extra fine, skip extra fine and do medium fine or medium. I mean, and that is not, that's not very broad. Yeah, if you have small handwriting, medium fine or medium should suffice. Dare I say that I think this is good to go. They should have, say, the top 3 most knowledgeable pen experts together and do a test the expert session at a pen show. I think Brian would be one of the 3. What would we test? What would you have me test? I'll be in DC. All right. I want to clean these pens. Get these should be easy. No, there's no taking those apart. But this is a Burgundy standard with the music nib. Any subject on pens. Okay, well. I would do that. I'm not going to be able to answer, questions on Chinese pens. I know those come up all the time in the forums. This is in case you don't know what this is actually a really super cool pen. And for those that know, I'm surprised nobody said anything about it. This is the Sailor Pro Gear Sky. Pro Gear Slim Sky. It was a very cool pen. I think it was ahead of its time. It's one of the very few Sailors that was actually engraved with the model on the cap band. See, it says Sky there. And it was part of the series Sky, and then it was Earth, then Fire, then what was the green one? Something else. Actually, let's not do that. But when they came out with the Earth, it came out, and I said, "Well, what? Why didn't they put the name Earth on the cap band?" And they all kind of looked at me like, "Huh?" I said, "Yeah, you put Sky on Sky. Why not put Earth on Earth?" Now this is what this is a good use of the Sailor maintenance kit. Pens with transparent sections you should never put in the ultrasonic. You could heat stamp Earth on one of them for me. Yeah, right. I bet you could. Because what happens is these are not watertight. Water will get in between. And while this does unscrew, it's not very easy to get off. So if you have, just use a converter, or you use the maintenance kit to force water through to clean it. In other words, you have to hope that you can actually unscrew this part without damaging the section. And in this case, you can't get the section anymore. Oh man, Esterbrook.net boxes quiz. You know how long ago I put that on the site? I mean, you know. I might not be able to pass my own Esterbrook quiz. We'll deal with these converters in a minute here. We got a nice Lady Schaefer here. Ooh. That's a nasty. Doesn't really work, does it? It looks ugly. You'd love to get another modern Esterbrook case box or two. Thanks for the Dr. G's recommendation. Worked like a charm on that feed. Good. I actually, this is what I like. Lisa, I had Lisa get me another one of these. Maxwell House instant coffee. Because mine was, I don't know why, but the lid is not staying on it anymore. So I just got another one of these for my Dr. G's. Works like a charm most of the time. There's almost nothing that's too wide for this. Even lengthwise, you can fit senior dual fold desk pen tapers in there and everything. All right, so this is garbage. We'll throw it in the wayward home for misfit. That is actually a good cartridge. I didn't know when I bought it, I didn't know there was a good cartridge in there. Let's see, Arrow. How many times can you use Dr. G's before you need to replace it? I go till mine is like black and then I keep using it. Sometimes it is fun to see the hard rubber changing. But I mean, you really only get that on the first pass. Just dropped a clutch ring. Where the heck did it go? Oh, there it is. Here's black as well. Yeah, when you start getting a lot of gunk on the bottom, then you really want it. Like this is, let's see what mine looks like. That's not bad at all. I can actually still kind of see through it. You probably could filter out the gunk, but when you no longer see it working on ebonite, you know, then it's time to do it again. You might have a lifetime supply of Dr. G's. You might. But that's all right. You'll find other uses for it because, I mean, it works. I mean, I wouldn't, it's a very expensive ink remover. But, you know, in cases of a really, really stubborn ink, or you've got a white pen and you just can't get the ink off. Yeah. Your pigments and inks might need it. Yeah. You wonder if you could use Dr. G's calligraphy ink for dip pens once it gets saturated enough. Let us know how that works out, huh? Dip pen. Yeah, it would be dip pen, maybe. Sky is one of my favorites. I hate to call it a vintage sailor, but it really almost is at this point. I mean, this pen came out in, I mean, it's gotta be 10 years at least. I would not be surprised if it was 2016 or earlier. Special edition. There was no set standards like an antique car. What is 25 years? Yeah. Well, even that depends on the state, right? In Wisconsin, the statute is, well, they have two different types, and I don't know what determines the difference, but collector for a car only has to be 20 years. And if you're in Wisconsin, here's a hot tip for you. At the Kaukauna Antique Mall, there are three sets of Wisconsin collector plates for sale for about $30 a piece. Now, one of them I don't think is usable because it has a letter. And so in Wisconsin, if you have multiple collector cars and you license them with the collector plate, which is a blue plate with red lettering, the first one is, they're all numeric. So the first one gets you numeric, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then subsequent cars that you license will have a letter attached. So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your second car will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 B, etc., etc., etc. And there is one, I think there's one plate there that has a letter after it. So I don't know that you can actually license that, but the other ones you could. They're just a number. As long as no one's licensed that plate, you could buy it for $30 and license your car, your 20-year-old car. And it doesn't have to be a collector. I mean, it could be a 20-year-old Camry. And then you never have to pay plate fee again. There's no restrictions. There used to be restrictions. You couldn't drive it December, January, February, something like that. And they removed those restrictions. So you can drive it 12 months out of the year. You just never pay a plate fee. That's your hot tip of the week. Go to the Kaukauna Antique Mall. As far back corner as you can get, there's a booth that has three sets of Wisconsin collector plates. It's a good deal for somebody. Normally they're about $120. The only standard in Maine is for license plate, which is much cheaper for antiques. We do have in Wisconsin, a plate called Hobbyist, and I think that is more of a, you see that more often on like Model A's and Model T's and things like that. Cars that people really wouldn't drive year round. I don't know what the requirements are for that, but if you own the plates, you can just register them. When my Corvette turned 20 years old, I had these plates that I had from a previous classic car, and I just registered it. Oh, there we go. Ron's on board here with the hobby plates are available all motor vehicles 20 years or older where the body has been altered from the original vehicle. Okay. Hot rods, street rods. Must replicate a vehicle that's at least 20 years old. Okay. Should have kept your old car. Would have turned 20 this year. Do they have collector plates by you? I think most states have them. Kathleen, you're back. What nib do you want on your Esterbrook? Extra fine, fine, medium? It needs a new nib, as you recall. Your Mazda will be 20 years next year. Now, in most cases, it only makes sense if you're keeping the car for a long period of time. You know, I mean, if your Mazda turns 20 next year, and it doesn't have to be collectible, that's the thing. But usually, if you have to buy the plates, I'm sure it probably says on the website. I don't know what it was. I think when I last registered mine, I think the plates were at least $120. It's like, fine. Okay, very good. I'll find something for you. It's at least like 3 times the normal. Of course, now the normal rate's, I don't know, $85, $100. It's very high. So if you're just going to license your 20-year-old car, but you don't plan on keeping it for, I mean, you got to keep it for 3, 4, 5 years. It doesn't make any sense. But once you buy those plates, you own the plates, and you can transfer them to any car, and then you pay the transfer fee, which was like, I don't even think it was $20. In fact, when I transfer them to my Corvette, I think for the nominal fee of like $3, and I kid you not, $3, they sent me brand new plates because my front one was all kind of, I had one that was banged up, and then another one that was one was bent, and then the red paint on the plates was kind of wearing off. You got to interrupt at work. I get streamed in the background during office hours. That's fine. All good. Fine nib. All right. You think with yours you can't drive on the highway with those antique plates? But that's Canada. Where are you supposed to drive it around town? I mean, that's the only place you can drive it? That's kind of crazy, huh? Oh, in Maine, you can do original year of manufacture plates with the $30 registration fee and a one-time registration process. Yeah. We used to, I almost had my Mustang registered in Florida, but that was the problem. You had to find the original year plate, which wasn't always easy to find. And they always wanted they wanted a premium for all those plates because they knew, collectors were going to want that. Now, mine would have looked like a Christmas tree. They were green in 1970 and my Mustang was red. So it was really kind of maximum 80 or 90 kilometers an hour, not the big highways at 100 kilometers an hour and above. Okay. Seems kind of like a silly law, doesn't it? Let's not get started on that. But you know what I mean? Early antique plates, very collectible. They sell for high prices, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I got a feeling my 1970 Florida plate's probably not going to fetch that much. It took forever to find, and then when I finally got it, I had determined I was moving out of state, so I never actually put it on my car. Maybe it's for safety. They just assume that if the car's that old that it's not safe. Yeah, we're talking Corvairs again. Unsafe at any speed. I will admit my Corvair was unsafe at any speed for sure. For sure that car was unsafe. It's the only car I've ever had that I drove and there was like chunks of frame missing, like, big chunks. And I took it to a guy and he fixed it, but it was sell it to TGI Fridays for $30, hang it on their wall. Single digit. Oh yeah, sort of like in where's that? They do that in Saudi Arabia or whatever. You got millions for serial number one or something like that. Your dad converted a number of Corvettes to right-hand drive. Wow. Your parents use the hole on their Corvair, the hole in the floor in the Corvair is a garbage chute. My good friend from college, he had a 68 Mustang. Still does, actually. He still does have it. He had a 67 and a 68. And the 68, he was working on repairing the floor. And so he had, at one point, no passenger seat, no floor on the passenger side, and no carpet. And late one night, he was probably out drinking. It was college after all. But he was having somebody else drive him home. And he got pulled over by the cops, and he was in the back seat because obviously there's no passenger seat. His friend was driving the car, and the cop looked in, and he was like, "What is going on here?" My Corvair had almost no floor when I bought it too. That was falling apart. But yeah, he used it as a garbage chute too sometimes. Not what we wanna. That wouldn't pass inspection in Maine. Yeah, well, it was like I say, it was different times back then, right? Yeah, we lived in a college town, so it was. It was a good little car, that Corvair. It was just more trouble than it's worth. Had been in an accident. Wrong front end. Whole front clip was wrong. The MGA you had started with wood floorboards. There's a piece of aluminum screwed in over the hole. The exhaust burned into the floor. Oh my God. You thought the rule only said the number of seatbelts had to be equal or more than the number of seats. Yeah. It satisfied many a pizza customer. Yeah, I took my Corvair on. Well, my buddy used his 68 delivering pizzas. Actually, my buddy and I both delivered pizzas when we were in college. And at any one time, for a long time, he drove his 68 and I drove my 70. And so we were the pizza company that had the Mustangs. And then one night, And then I eventually I had a Chevette and I used that. And that was a real great little car. You know, you can give them crap all you want. They're good little cars. And the radiator leaked. So I went back. The radiator? Something happened to the Chevette. I can't remember what it was. The other vet. And I went back to my house. I got the Mustang and drove the Mustang for a little bit. And then the Mustang's radiator went out. So then I went back home and picked up the Corvair for the last like hour of the shift. What a disaster that was. I thought for sure I was going to get stranded in the middle of nowhere. 6, 7, 8. But I burned through 3 cars in one shift. Oh, I've got them all now. That one is there. Looking for that. I'm looking for that. I don't remember what happened. I think I had I can't remember what happened. A flat tire or something on the Chevette, and then the next day I had to drive I had no car that worked by the end of the night. The next day I had to, before my next shift delivering pizzas, I had to ride my bike to this place a couple of miles away, at least a couple of miles away, to get a new radiator for one of the cars. And I had to hang on to the thing on my bike. Talk about uncomfortable. Because I had no other cars and nobody to help me out. Hmm. Was not clean. Maybe Lisa can find me a smoking jacket when she goes overseas. We're gonna drop that back. Oh, that's disgusting. I think she's gonna look for me for a Danish pen. I'm trying to find trying to find antique shops in the cities that she's going to be in. So that she can look while she's gone. She did say she'd look. Let's see. I need some water. I'm going to switch out this water here real quick. Be right back. I could take you to a high-end clothing shop here that would make you a smoking jacket. It might cost more than Lisa's trip to Denmark. Yeah. Oh, no. I'd rather buy a pen, you know? Well, that's just me. There might be 1 or 3 on my wish list here. I don't want to dirty up these converters, so I'm just going to use a different one. Well, actually, I don't need to do that, do I? Problem is, I don't want to make it complicated for Lisa. Like Pinol is the big Danish brand, but more often than not, Pinols are really they're often not great pens. We've had a number over the years. The really nice ones would be the Christian Olsen dual folds. Those would be nice. But if I start to get particular, there is never going to happen. So if she comes back with the Pinol or some other Danish brand or something, fantastic. If she comes back with nothing, no big deal. Just come back. That's all I want. Just come back. I think Lisa's worried that I'm going to blow any sort of budget when I come and visit David. So. All right. I'm just going to treat it as a vacation. So, yeah, I'm taking a few days off in June. Haven't actually had a vacation in, it's been a couple years, 2 or 3 years. The only real danger is trying to buy things out of your collection. You know, the one thing I really appreciate about the two of us is that we sort of like some of the same certain things, but not always necessarily. So you have things that I would never, it was like with Lisa and I, like we both collected Esterbrookes, but I collected the relief and the early stuff, and she collected the later stuff, and we never really, you know, butted heads or anything like that. This goes over here. But it's not always true. I know you've got a couple pieces that are of interest, but you know, I'm not there to buy your pens. But I don't necessarily have a singular focus now. I do. It's a really broad. I do, but it's a very broad focus. Just think about it. I could have an instant vanishing point collection. Yeah, but you don't have the one that I want. See, I mean, if you had the one that I wanted, I might buy it just so I could get that one and then sell everything else off. Actually, there might be. Is there two? I can't remember. I think there's two in that series. I mean, I don't know. How much bourbon do you have? Can you imagine? Brian, why did you have to check a bag? Enough. Enough. Don't worry about it, honey. Enjoy your trip. I'll unpack later. It's just parts. And then Lisa would see the sales coming through. Can you imagine that? Like I would get on the horn fast and I would start listing that stuff. Brian, where are all these sales coming from? What did you do? I can see it now. Can you imagine? One thing's for sure. If I did that, if I bought all your vanishing points, I don't think there would ever be any complaints about desk sets ever again. Oh my god. How hilarious would that be? Lisa might be in competition and looking for pens with Doug Rathburn. He'll be at the Dutch pen show in Italy after the show. Is that a worm in the bottle? That'd be pen in the bottle? Can you imagine? Every pen show coming forward. Well, how many desk sets would you like to buy this time, Brian? Just don't buy any vanishing points. Speaking of desk sets, I have actually a really pretty cool one. That's fingers crossed, maybe coming this week. I originally was not going to take, and then it's coming in on consignment. How about just looking at the pens and said, yeah, we could probably do that. That'd probably be all right. Should probably restore the desk pens you have at some point. Yeah, I need to get my those desk pens that we assembled while you were here are in the exact same place they are when you left. So, and they're going to be that way. I might get to them by the end of the week. Yours are still in the same box that you packed up at my place, minus the maple syrup. Did you try it yet? It's pretty good, huh? It's excellent. Good. Wow, these sections are really. Evening. What pens are you restoring currently? Well, right now, what we are doing is Olivia Rose. I am cleaning up some of the cartridge converter pens that I picked up at the Chicago show. So that I can clean them up. My photography day is this week is tomorrow. So I can get them ready for photography. And then hopefully they will be ready on the website for Friday for the podcast on Friday. So we've got Sailor 1911 standards, burgundy. This black one actually has a 21 karat nib, which is quite unusual. But we've got a music nib, and this one is a broad, which is nice. The Pro Gear Slim Sky, which is one of my favorite models. We got a Schaefer Lady Schaefer, a couple of Parker 45 and an Arrow, and then a couple of Japanese Elites, Pilot Elites. And we're just cleaning those right now, and then if I get these two done, then I've got other stuff to work on. What else we got? Yeah, I got a hodgepodge of stuff over to my left. You want the best maple syrup? It has to be Maine? I don't know about that. We do all right here in Wisconsin. I'm sure yours is excellent. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, so let's do this. Once I can get through these, then we'll start repairing some stuff. But we got a couple pens soaking, and Stay in your lane with your cheese. Oh, you know what, David? I didn't give you any cheese when we were here. I guess you got everything else. You got beer. You got maple syrup. You got a lathe. You got a Wisconsin lathe. What more could you ask for? All right, guys. Mars Cheese Castle on your left. Your partner was in Wisconsin end of April visiting family. Brought back a surplus of cheese. Nice. Wonder if we put this in it was too last minute to request a time off. Oh, that's too bad. What if we filled this with some Dr. G's, if that would get rid of. Or heck, just dump it in there. Should we try that? I can't really scrub it because you can't really. You can't really take it apart. Why not? All you need now is a place to put the lathe. You're being picky. Well, that was only my problem for the first 4 or 5 years that I had it. Yeah, I'll see what that does, huh? Hey, Glenn, how's it going? Brother finally got his lathe set up. Might need to go over and have some fun. Well, after a lot of consideration, it just made more sense for me to not have one, and to not try to have one. I just don't have the time for it. Well, it makes more sense for me to have a buffing wheel. Actually, this was in here. Actually, I'm going to spin this out without that in there, I think. Finally got your computer replaced. Man, I hate doing that, don't you? Like, when you got to do that like once every I don't know. I try to make it like once every 10 years or something. Question for you. I have one of the Esterbrook dealer demonstrator pens. Are we talking modern Esterbrook? You took it out the other day and noticed a crack in it. Is it possible to modify a regular section to take the metal innards? Or is it easier to turn a replacement? Yeah, I do need to get a hood for the buffing wheel. Got to get that yet. Dealer demonstrator pens. You understand those interested in watches, but not pens. Yeah, same kind of idea. Truly. Those interested in pens usually are interested in watches too. Pen with the taper. Oh, okay. I know. Check the vintage. Or Legos. Yeah, I never got the Lego thing. I don't know. The renewed point demonstrator pen. Yeah. I would imagine you could. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Because, of course I happen to have one here. You also feel that paying attention to watches is easier than paying attention to pens. Well, you can only wear one watch at a time. I guess you could wear two. But you can use as many pens a day as you want. So yes, that one. Yeah. I love it when people say, hey, talk about a certain pen. I go, hang on, I got that one. So this is what it looks like for those who don't know what we're talking about. There's a little clutch inside the section. It's not threaded. So the idea is, yeah, it's a Model W, but there's no box drilled there's no slot drilled for the lever. And it's not a double X dipless. It's actually a Model W without a lever is what it is. But that clutch is designed so that you just go. In theory. There we go. I have one finger that's not quite out of alignment. You can literally just take one and then just put another one in. I haven't looked at this in a while. Yeah, I would say when I'm looking at it, if I were to take this apart, and I don't have any real reason to do it, and I don't really want to do it, but this should just By the way, this pen is available for sale that we're just disassembling here. But this is purely for science, is what this is. All right, and for those who don't know, this is actually a pretty scarce pen. I mean, they made them, but it's not your everyday pen. Are there companies that are interested in and focus solely on pens like Casio and Rolex and watches? Yeah, lots of them. Lots of them. I mean, yeah, lots of companies. Your big companies, sometimes they, like your Japanese companies, sometimes they diversify into other areas. Sailor, Pilot, Platinum. Price just went down. It's used. Oh, it is used. Right? So really, that little clutch mechanism, they drilled it out and it sits flush with the back of the section. So if you have, I would say, if you have another section, I don't know if I'm trying to see here. I don't see evidence of threads, but and I'm not, don't get me wrong. I'm happy to take this apart, but I'm not going to take this clutch out. If it were, if it's broken, you take it out. But they probably put these in before they threaded them, I would guess. I would say you got nothing to lose by trying. So this is actually interesting though. But when you look at it, this is different, right? Because it doesn't have the section nipple. You have to cut the section nipple off. Obviously to get, because there's the section nipple. And you're not going to be able to push it in from the front. So home time. Have a great stream. All right, thank you. Yeah, so you're gonna have to cut this part off, and then I would say you might. Yeah, this was never threaded, so. You might be able just to shove it back in there. I would definitely keep it though. The things we do here, I don't know. That's interesting. I've never actually taken one of those out, so that was actually kind of a fun experiment. But you probably could. I would imagine you could probably shove that in. I don't know if you would want to. I don't know how hard it would be. I mean, it's not going to be any bigger diameter. I mean, this doesn't have any threads cut in it, so you could probably just shove it in a regular section. Bore out the threads and cut off the section nipple. Yeah, I mean, you might not even need to do that. Right? Because they just took this off the line. You might be interested in this demonstrator. It is available. You could have had it last week. And this is the better of the, and yes, believe it or not, there are variations of this pen. This is the better, in my opinion, the better of the two variations. Or there might be three. I can't remember. There's a screen printed version, and then there's this imprinted version. It's actually up on the website, David. I'll send you a link to it. Although you probably find it, your skills are pretty good. Yours is identical to this. Yeah, there's a screen printed version, and there might be a third version where they don't. I don't remember. Where they don't use the dash between renew and point. I think there's 3 versions, and I don't remember which one the third. If the third is screen imprinted or if it's imprinted like this. So I mean, worst case scenario, you ruin a good section. I mean, but you don't have what you need now, so. Something to think about. It is a genuine, interesting pen. If you don't collect Esterbrook's, it's. Oh. Yeah, try a scuffed up one first. I mean, the big problem is probably going to be trying not to damage that clutch. I'm doing everything I can to not get my fingers dirty, but that's going to end up just having to be the case. Well, let's see if this did any good at all. Yeah, David says take measurements first as best you can. Because you might have to break the existing section to get that clutch out. I guess it depends where the crack is. You would cut the section in half to remove the clutch, yeah. No, the section's hard rubber. So I did not solve any problems with this, and I created another one. Crack is on the grip section itself. Don't think it extends beyond that. Oh. I don't know why I'm messing with this. I just replace it with another one. I wonder if this will fit in the vanishing point section of my spinner here. Because we don't put away dirty parts. That's correct. We should have a t-shirt for that. Oh yeah, look at that. It'll fit right in there. No go. There's still. Wonder why that didn't come out. Heating it? Yeah, yeah, heating would be a good idea too. You know what? I'm gonna put this in backwards because it's coming out that way. Yeah, if you could push it out from the front, once you can get it out just a little bit, you could grab it with the pliers and oh, there we go. I put it in backwards and then it just there's still a little bit of yeah, it's still just as dirty as it was before. So the Dr. G's didn't do me any good on this. I've had enough of that thing. Oh, that's all right. This one even has the original sticker. It's kind of nice. All right. What time's 4:28? Well, let's take a little. Probably a good place to stop for today. But let's take a look at what's ahead of us tomorrow. My Twitch ad manager just disappeared. I mean, that's interesting. This is the next group of pens. The next batch that we're going to work on. This one doesn't have to be any day soon, but we got a nice 4-screen 51 special set. That's kind of nice with liquid. Is this with liquid lead? Oh no, it's a regular pencil. The box. I don't know how well this is gonna match, but we'll put it on anyway. I've got a new Cordovan hood. It looks a little darker, but we'll see what it looks like for this desk pen. I'd like to sell that. I've got this 75, which is a little dry. We just need to spread that nib a little bit, and this should be good to go. We just got to put a new sack on this guy. I guess it was threaded. So we're gonna put a sack on this guy. We've got this project. I'm hoping is going to get finished. Nice oversized jade balance. We got a good section now. We got a good nib. So we got that. This pen just needs a bar. I got it halfway in. What is this? These were made from parts. This is going to be a nice user grade. Oversized flat top. What do we got here? Oh, this is touchdown that apparently needed a nib. And we're going to make something out of these two. We're going to combine these two and make one. So we got a good cap. We got a nice broad nib on this one. But we don't have a blind cap, so we'll combine these two. Make one good pen. So these are kind of next up. I'll give you a sneak peek at what's after this. These are all Chicago show acquisitions. We got a nice group of Schaefers here. Some Canadian balances. We got a couple of snorkels. I don't even remember buying this. Touchdown. A 51 is a back. Yeah, this is a 51 51 Demi Aerometric with a beautiful gold-filled cap. Probably just needs a cleaning. A nice group of pencils. Those will just need a little clean up, and I believe they all work. But look at this one. This one's great. The material on this is awesome. All kind of swirly on the cap. Always love this pattern. Yeah, if there was a matching pen. Should probably keep this pencil, but I don't do that. Stickered. I've got 351 or 251s. I think it's a 51 special, believe it or not. Yeah, 51 special desk pen. So over the coming weeks, we'll try to outfit those with bases, of which I think I have, and of course we've got some Esterbrook's, another Aloha Gold. We got a couple of A101 Aerometrics. The pastel green is great. My favorite color in the M2 series, the turquoise. Looks like we actually have both versions of this pen. That's cool. I didn't notice that. Name on the clip, name on the cap band. Vice versa. And just a random grouping of J's and such. So those will be in the pile, probably in this order, to at least check over and look at. We can do this. We can get rid of a tray here. Anytime I can do that, it's a win. So that is what is coming up next. So I am going to call it a day. Finish up a couple last minute things in the shop here, and I know Lisa's not feeling well, so I'm going to get her home. And yeah, thanks. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. She just she ate something that didn't agree with her, I think, and I don't know. Now it seems like she's got a cold, or I don't know. She literally went and slept in the car at lunch instead of eating. So I need to get her to eat something tonight. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks so much for positive vibes. I'll let her know. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully tomorrow we can get. I'm going to take this before I forget because I don't know this Century. I'm going to take it out of the balance can sit and soak, but I don't know if that. What's going to happen if I leave that Century in water overnight? So we'll continue working on those. Try to get those 2 pens open tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But in other words, we can test that that Esterbrook. I got to put together the base, and at least the desk pen will be pretty good and ready to go, I would say. And we'll keep on trucking. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great evening, a great afternoon, great morning, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll see you tomorrow, all right? Take care, everyone.